This is the Prestigious Initiative, and these are the points. I'm Chris Kent, and I'm joining Chris Bean. Hello, Mr. Bean.
Hello, sir.
Let's talk about your conversation with Mustafa Amar. Any first-hand impressions about that conversation before?
Yeah, I thought it was really admirable the way that he has been able to become a career shapeshifter, as he says, and move and grow into different career positions as he progresses, and not only do that for himself, but also inspire and help others along the journey to do that for themselves as well.
Definitely. They made a few good points throughout the entire episode, but one thing that stuck with me is kind of pushing against that societal norm of having one thing for your whole life, basically. And not that there's anything wrong with that. I think that if you find yourself doing something that you enjoy or that you're good at or that brings you fulfillment, then by all means, if you want to stick with that, then stick with that. Do that job for 40, 50 years, whatever, if you can. That's amazing. But I think a lot of us can relate to the feeling of feeling stuck or feeling like you've run the course of whatever you may be involved with currently and wanting to seek something new, but maybe feeling like you're told you can't or you're not able to pursue something different. And clearly that's untrue because Mustafa has done that several times over in his own life. And like you mentioned, able to help other people do that as well. So I found that inspiring, especially like I said, in the face of what seems to be normal in society today, that he is a leading force and the opposite. And there is a way and a chance and there can be success found in kind of career changes at any point in time throughout your life.
Yeah, you touch on, I think that the heart of that is the societal pressures. I think that really we're told from society, from other people, outside forces, that we have to be a certain way and we can't diverge from that path. We have to focus, put all of our eggs in this basket, and then that's the only basket that you have from now until you're done working. But that isn't necessarily the case, and so it was really kind of eye-opening and refreshing to hear Mustafa talk about it from the other side.
And the way he described or talked about going about those changes too is, finding himself in a position, realizing that he may not feel fulfilled or he feels like he's run the course of whatever it is, and how he finds where to go next is through his passions, through going back into his memories and reliving and uncovering some of the dreams and ambitions he used to have and trying to run with those. He talked about remembering things from his childhood that he cared about or that he told himself he wanted to be, and things that he actually cared and had a desire to interact with or be a part of. And that's what helped direct him on his next change, his next next career path. And again, that's inspiring because I know that we all have those dreams and ambitions at one point in time, and oftentimes we've taken those dreams and ambitions and put them to the wayside because of money or because of a stable quote unquote career, or because we're told and believe that we need to do something differently and that our passions aren't actually viable or options worth pursuing. Again, he's proven that is not true, and then the opposite is possible, which is a great success story to hear and to know that he's out there helping other people do the same thing.
Finding your passion in life is really challenging, partly because as a child, you kind of like certain things and your passion is being pulled in one direction. But in early childhood, by the time you get to 8, 10, 11, 12, somewhere around in there, someone comes along and tells you you can't do that as a job. And you're going to have a job at some point to make money, to put food on your table, put a roof over your head. So you have to abandon that and go to school so you can do these other things. And I think that separation between the passion that you have as a child and then trying to figure out what you have to do in order to make money moving forward, because you have to have food on the table. I mean, money isn't everything, I understand, but you have to have food on the table. You got to have a roof over your head. Those are pretty key, important things. We separate those things out. And early on in our life as children, it's very easy to see what the passions are. But by the time we're adults, we're separated so far, we have to do some digging within ourselves, some internal reflection in order to find those passions, to rediscover those, and then figure out, okay, these are the things that I like. Now, of these things, how can I make them work as a career moving forward. And so trying to find that passion and then turn that passion into a career that you can move forward on is a challenging task, but it's helpful and refreshing again to hear that people like Mustafa are doing this and helping other people along this journey so they can find their passion and then live a life that lines up with that.
Yes, sir. We covered things, like the too late to change myth. You get so far along in your path, and well, you're here now, and it's too late to make a switch, or you're progressing up in age, even maybe, and you think, oh man, well, I'm 50 years old. It's too late for me to change my career path. But again, these things, it's just a myth. It's things that we're told, things that is what is normal, but doesn't mean you have to subscribe to that or fit that mold either. And again, drawing on passions, knowing what your passion is, drawing from that, and then connecting that to your purpose, making your purpose part of what that passion is, and the things that you can do through or with that passion, and lining those two things up. Because one a value that Mustafa holds, or I guess I should say that he doesn't hold, is that he doesn't consider money to be a value. So when you're sitting down and thinking about your passions, thinking about your values, things that are important to you, money is a necessity, but it's not something that you should value. Your value shouldn't be, oh, I want to make so much money, and money is the only thing important to me, and I'm going to put my other desires or other responsibilities to the side so that I can pursue this money. And not everyone thinks that way, but seeing Mustafa's life and the way he talks about things that he's doing and things he has done, I think with that kind of lower on the list of priorities, it's led him in many different places and given him opportunities that he wouldn't have had if he was so focused on making money. And so, like we both have said, money is important, and it's a means to an end in a lot of situations, but it should not be your sole priority or something that you're solely concerned about, because there's so much more at play rather than just making more and more and more and more money.
Really, I think that if you can find your passion and help other people on that journey, and I think that part of people's passion is to help other people, to have some sort of service, some sort of product that you're allowing other people to have, and the money will come, but the benefit is you get to do the thing that you want to do. You get to help others, and in that helping of others, you get the return on your investment of time by seeing them learn and grow and achieve. And if your group, if your team, if your clan, whatever you want to call them, your customers are learning and growing and achieving because of you, then you don't have to worry about money. Money will be there. But if you can live a life that's like that, if that's a passion, if you can turn your passion into a way to help others, then you don't have to worry about the money. The money will be there.
As we're talking, as we were talking to Mustafa, a phrase that he used I thought was really interesting is that, he views all these different career opportunities and different avenues of approach, or different things to kind of pursue. He said that there are different universes to put on. I think that maybe we've all had some sort of interaction or are familiar with the idea of parallel universes and whatnot. And, he was talking, I'm Mustafa from this universe where I'm doing this thing, and then I become Mustafa from this universe where I'm doing this other thing. And there's just a cool kind of visual to have where, he's stepping into those different parallels and becoming that version of himself at different points in his life. And it works well for him, and he's able to transition and move through all those things. I think because he takes on that identity, he says, I'm not going to be the supreme specialist in one area, but I'm going to put on these different hats and work these different jobs and do these different things that I care about and that I can make others care about, and be a good example in all these different areas. Again, I just think it's a cool visual to hear him explain it that way, the different universes that he's putting on and becoming from time to time.
So, okay, so the way that I think about that, and this is interesting because we were talking just before we got on to record now about confidence. And part of confidence is doing things, stepping outside your comfort zone and doing things you don't normally do. There's a little bit of self-doubt that's going to be there, a little bit of an imposter syndrome. But I think that by thinking about it as you're stepping into a parallel universe version of you, an alternate reality version of you, because if you think about all of the things that you've done, okay, so I'm going to diverge just a second here. The parallel universe, multi-universe theory really is like, if I make choice, I'm presented with options A, B, and C. If I choose option A, then I'm on that universe. I choose but there's another universe where I choose option B, and there's another universe where I choose option C. So all of those, if I'm presented with an option somewhere out there, very likely there's another version of me that chose and went on a different path. And by thinking about it like that, as you stepping into another version of yourself from a different universe, then you I think a little bit take down that self-doubt. You take down that imposter syndrome, because that version of you is already doing it. You just become that version. And I think it's a unique, a different perspective on that self-doubt and imposter syndrome thought. What do you think?
Yeah, like I said, I thought it was interesting to kind of view it that way. And again, viewing yourself as that, stepping into that different parallel, that different universe, and becoming that person can be a huge tool into overcoming that self-doubt, because you're no longer someone doing something different than what you normally do. You become that person who does that thing, and that is who you are. And again, a cool perspective for him to share with us, and a tool that we can use to, like you said, overcome that self-doubt and kind of push through some of those difficult experiences.
Yes, sir.
Make sure you follow us on social media. You can find the podcast at Prestigious Pod.
You can find me, Chris Bean, at Chris Bean Official.
You can find me, Mr. Kent, at Mr. Chris R. Kent.
And if you like our content and would like to subscribe to our email, you can do that via our social media or on the website.
Make sure you also join our Discord for exclusive content and personal interactions.
If you would like to be coached on how to live a more prestigious life by me, Chris Bean, you can do that by reaching out on one of my social medias or by emailing the podcast at prestigiousinitiative@gmail.com.
Those are the points. Make sure you come back next week for even more points and another great conversation. Until next time, I'm Chris Kent.
And I'm Chris Bean.